Hey, it's your boy KP, and I am back with another episode of The Kyle Petty Show. This time, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Hans Hendrickson, who is currently starring as one of the Burrs in The Wild Party over at the Cultural Arts Playhouse in Merrick. Had a fantastic time chatting about the show and himself in this conversation, and I'm going to share that with you in a moment. But first, story time with Kyle. You know how we do over in this house. And I got to tell you, I don't know whose bright idea it was to have me start going out, start seeing shows again, because I really cannot be taken anywhere. I shouldn't be going out at all. And let me tell you why. I walk in to the theater. First of all, Cat Merrick, good on ya. Selling drinks in the lobby. We love it. We love it. I had the Queenie was a blonde. Queenie is a blonde. Queenie's blonde. Blonde Queenie. Whatever it was, I had that one. Very delicious. But I have the bladder the size of a toddler. And I was sitting right at the entrance, because I got there like basically at 8, so I didn't want to be too disruptive. Doesn't end well for me. So I sat right at the entrance. All right, that's important to note. And you have to walk through the rest of the theater in order to get to the bathroom. Now, the Wild Party is presented as a rather immersive experience, right? They're coming out, obviously it's a party, they're out here, they're using the front row, sitting there kind of with us, which kind of brings you into the entire experience, which lovely touch, but not if you have to pay. So I'm sitting there and I was only halfway into this drink and I was like, oh God, I'm not going to make it to intermission. I already know I'm not. I was like, so what am I going to do here? And I'm looking at the program. I was like, no, I can't go during that song. Can't do that. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to handle this, right? But I have to go. And of course, like Juggernaut's coming up. Like, there's no way I can go during that number. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, as I'm like planning the plot of this exit, right? This plot to pay. I'm like, how am I going to go and get over there? I'm thinking like, where is my phone? Because you want to make sure you have all your stuff and all your ducks in a row before you make this mad dash to the bathroom, right? And I was like, oh God. And I was like, well, I don't know where it is. I'm looking on the floor. It's not on the floor. It's not next to the drink. It's not over here with my program. It must be in my pocket. Forgetting the fact that, I've got this Motorola Razr, so cute, foldable, makes it even smaller. Don't judge the cracks. This did not happen as a part of this story. It did happen prior, but I will say situations like this is exactly why I will not get her fixed. So I couldn't find my phone and everything, but, sometimes I like to take the phone and stick it in between my tummy and my thigh, like stick it under my stomach, right? That way you can feel the vibrating, right? Like any of my other fatties out there, sometimes depending on where you put it, you don't feel that vibrate on all those layers of fat, right? So I put it there to make sure I would be aware of what was going on. Well, totally forgot that, right? So I get up and I dart to the bathroom, and the first thing I hear is, and I just knew that was my phone, going down. I was like, damn it! And there's absolutely no way everyone else didn't hear this, right? So I'm like, oh my fuck. So I go like this, as if to acknowledge, I know that the phone, don't worry about it. Not that anyone else was worried. It's not like you're going to have half the audience getting up and going to search for your phone or anything like that. Oh, shoot. And I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. It will still be there by the time I get to intermission, right? And nobody's going to get up and steal it, because then when you definitely tried it, that is not in the spirit of Long Island Theater Rally. We don't do that over here. Well, I turned back. And true to form, my girl, Tanisha, she had my back. I swear, this girl, I love her down. She will always hold me down, okay? She had my phone in hand. She was holding it and gave it to my friend John. And I was like, she got me. My phone is good. I don't have to worry anymore. So, so that was it. I guess that's the real story, but this is exactly why you can't go out with me. So when I came out of the bathroom, I was aware this was probably going to happen again. This was not going to be baby's first pee. So I made sure I stayed over by the bathroom in case I had to disrupt again. So yeah, thanks for listening to my tale of woe. Um, the Wild Party is an absolute must see as well. I really, really love this show. No one does it enough. And this cast, like, honestly, like, wowed me. I know this show very, very well, and I was very pleased to see it done at this level of quality. So, like, thank you to all, like, the cast and the crew, like, for everything they did there. Definitely go see it. I believe it closes on March 24th. Let's check the calendar. I am correct. Thank goodness. Closes on the 21st. 21st. Terrible. 24th. Thank you very much. Two different casts, so definitely check on the Cap Merrick socials. Make sure you are seeing the cast that you intend to see. My review of it will be up on the 14th on my website, kylepettyshow.com. And that's about it. Thanks for listening to my whole thing. Here's the conversation with Hans, and I hope you enjoy. Thanks a lot. I am here with Hans Hendrickson, who is currently starring as Burrs in The Wild Party at the Cultural Arts Playhouse in Merrick. This production closes on March 24th at 3 p.m. So make sure you get in there like before it closes. It's also important to note that this particular production is double cast. You want to check the socials to make sure you are seeing the right person on the right day. Um, all right, now that that's out of the way, Hans, welcome. Thanks for coming on the Kyle Petty Show. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me today,
Good.
Kyle.
No, of course. My pleasure. My pleasure. So, introduce yourself to people who are not familiar with you. Imagine this is the very first read through. You're meeting your cast for the first time. We're going around the table. What do you say to the people? What do you want them to know about Hans?
Hi, everyone. My name is Hans. I grew up doing theater on the island. I've been performing in community theater since I was 13 years old. So, for 17 years now, more than half my life. Um, I have always found such a welcoming community within the community theater community. And it's been what's kept me in it for so long. When I'm not performing, I really like to write. I picked up on that recently.
Hmm.
I do get a little sidetracked though with projects. Like I started a project based on a summer camp that I went to for 8 years. And was a camp counselor for 2 years, and condensed 10 years of memories into one summer. It's called Summer Drama. It takes place summer 2010, or I'm sorry, 2007, summer 2007. And it's kind of a love letter to that time period before social media, before iPhones were a thing. It's also the summer that Hairspray the musical came out, or the movie musical. So like that's involved. And then I'm working on a couple other things, a mockumentary and a 2-part web series as well.
Oh, excuse us. Busy bee. Busy bee.
Yeah, the web series or mini series idea rather is actually pretty cool. It's based around the concept of behind the scenes featurettes. Growing up, I'm a millennial, so DVD generation. You'd get a movie and then it'd come with like 40 to 50 hours of extra features and stuff like that.
Right.
So essentially, what I want to do is take beloved movies like The Wizard of Oz or Willy Wonka, like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and kind of not expose, but make people aware of what it took to make those films.
Hmm.
Like Wizard of Oz went through 9 directors, and the women were treated terribly on set. So were the small actors, and kind of almost get like, how there's like American Crime Story, but
Yes.
do that kind of like with beloved films.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Where can people find more information about that before we get any further?
It's all up here right now and in my computer. They just have to stay tuned on my social media. I'm hoping to have the summer drama film. I would actually really like to shoot it local with local young actors. I think that there's a lot of young talent on Long Island, and I would love to give people that are part of the community, my people, an opportunity to show what they can do to the world. I think that it's interesting, all those like NBC Lives and, all that stuff that they shot on Long Island and use people from Broadway when there's so much talent on Long Island to begin with. So I would love for it to be like maybe one big Broadway person and introducing the whole rest of the cast.
Awesome.
I'd love to shoot it local at the school that I went to the summer camp at and, kind of teach the kids how to act on film. So if any kids out there are interested in working with me on a movie, keep an eye out, please. I would love to have you.
Awesome. I love that. Keeping it in the community and like keeping it local. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Good. All right. So I asked you to prepare two truths and a lie.
Oh,
Um,
yes.
it's already no secret that like I am historically bad at this game, but I am determined to get this one.
Okay.
Yes.
Alright.
All right. All right. So hit me with it. What did you come up with?
Okay, so, when I was
Mhm,
younger, I was very fortunate, because I wanted to be in the performing arts, and I actually
mhm.
had an aunt who was in casting. So I had some really cool opportunities as a young actor, to work with some people that, like, I didn't really understand that I was working with them, but in, like, retrospect now, it's, like, really cool to be able to tell people that I did it.
Right.
So it's Two Truths and a Lie, like, child actor edition.
Okay. All right. So what is the first one?
The first one is that it's actually about like my first like really big professional gig. I was lucky enough to work with Spike Lee actually, and I shot three commercials for him. They were for Kmart. My younger brother and I auditioned, and we got to work together with him. It was a really cool experience. We had a really great time, and you know, it was cool because a couple years later, I say a couple, almost 15 years later, I went and re-auditioned to be an extra in Black Klansman, a film that he did with Adam Driver. And he actually remembered me. He
No
asked about
way.
my brother. Yeah, he remembered my brother's name. You know, he asked about my mom. You know, really, really cool, like honest, like not like that type of person. I
Mhm.
could say that about all three of the people that I'm mentioning in this, I guess, but especially Mr. Lee, as I
Okay.
kept calling him, and you know,
Mr.
uh,
Lee, Mr. Lee, won't you please? All right, that's a lot of context. So
I'm acting. I have so
yeah.
much
Oh,
background. You're
let's
not
say
going to know
I'm
for
leaning
all of them.
towards that actually now being true, but the last time, I thought that a lot of context would work in my favor. It did not, because Miss Veronica, she got me so good. So I
You
don't
love
really
her.
trust my judgment here. All right, so number 1 has worked with Spike Lee. That's a big one. That's big.
Number two
Number 2.
was that when I got a little bit older, I was actually lucky enough to work with Nintendo. I started skateboarding at a very young age. It was something that like I always thought was super cool. I grew up watching Rocket Power, and you know all that stuff was very like in our faces as kids that were growing up in the early 2000s. And it was like a cooler way to get around than riding a bike, I guess. So I picked that up at a pretty early age, and I was halfway decent, a lot better when I was younger than you know I am now. A lot of injuries, but those are stories for another time. Uh, every injury I've ever gotten on a skateboard is to the fault of rocket power, I guess. Essentially, I was able to work with Nintendo and shoot a commercial with Tony Hawk, actually, which was super duper cool. Really, really down to earth guy, like super nice, gave us a ton of free stuff, like took us to his trailer. It was me and like four or five other kids. He signed our boards. I still have the board somewhere in storage. Like it's like a little kid skateboard too. Like he gave
Okay.
us all like smaller skateboards.
Oh, cute.
Really, really cool guy. And like it was cool to be involved in that because that was kind of like it to be able to say like, hey, started you were a part of the marketing for the beginning of like this whole video game franchise
Right,
essentially.
right.
You know, and I still talk to some of those kids actually. Some of them are professional skateboarders now, some of them are sponsored. One of them doesn't act anymore at all. It's funny how that works. But yeah, no, definitely was a really cool experience working with Tony Hawk and like getting like I remember I like came into school like soon after and like had like all this merch and everyone was like, what? Like you do theater. Like, where'd you get all this like skateboard stuff? And I was like, I met Tony Hawk and like got to show a picture and show and tell. Like,
I'm friends with Tony Hawk.
yeah, yeah, no. And then Tony Hawk was on an episode of Rocket Power. So like that was even cooler. Like he like voiced the character. So it was like full circle.
It's
Um,
also so funny to me that you like Rocket Power so much, because my little brother used to watch that. I was like, "What is this crap?" Because, like, Rocket Power was around the same time as that other stupid show, like Ed, Ed and Eddy.
yes,
Like,
yes.
all that's don't tell me you like that show too.
I'm more Nickelodeon than a Cartoon
Okay,
Network kid.
alright, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, good. Yeah, Rocket Power, I'm sorry, that's terrible.
No, no
Alright.
problem.
Yeah,
Rocket Power, yeah, of course.
yeah, I
What
love
did they
Squeaky
used to
Pig.
woogity 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 woogity? Yeah, no,
I
that's
would know, I would
yeah.
know.
Oh, was a good show. It's silly. I've watched a couple episodes and I'm like, I enjoyed this, like, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. And then my third and final truth or lie.
Mhm.
Another thing that I used to do before I really fell into like musical theater was swimming. Ever since I was a kid, my parents had me in swim lessons. I grew up in Bayshore, which has a safety swim. And I did a ton of promotion for safety swim, like local on Long Island. I was just there all the time. I think I'm just drawn to cameras and things like that. I don't know.
Mhm.
Anyone who's going to tell me I'm doing a good job immediately, I guess I'm drawn to. And
I
I
think
did
that's
a
anyone.
but especially a young me.
Right,
Um,
sure,
but
sure.
so I did a ton of promotion for them, and I was at a child expo, and I actually got to meet Raven Simone, um, and that was really really cool. Just in retrospect now to be like, because I feel like Raven has just been so vocal about like everything that they went through working with Disney and with their
Mhm.
sexuality and working with Disney and being of color and working with Disney and the way that they were kind of painted and the what they've grown from. And I think that they're like truly like an icon, if I do say so
Right.
myself. And to be able to be like, hey, like I met them when I was really little. I didn't really know what was going on, but like, I don't know. It's just cool to be able to say. And like, I still swim to this day. It's probably one of my favorite things to do, like secretly. Like if I'm ever like in a hotel and there's a pool, like, and I'm not in my room, that's where I'm at. Like, I think I'm most comfortable. Like people say, oh, I'm so comfortable on stage. I'm actually most comfortable in the water. Like,
Oh, that's
so those are
interesting.
my truths and lies. I don't know like what
Ah,
where you think
okay.
what's true and what's false, but
So let's review. Number 1, you worked with Spike Lee.
mhm,
Number 2, you've worked with Tony Hawk.
mhm.
And number 3, swimming in such with Raven. I feel like the third one is actually like random enough that that's probably so. Like that really tracks with Raven. Like to be involved in that.
You're
Um,
getting better at this game.
yeah, I feel like I believe that one. That one, okay. I'm torn between Spike Lee and Tony Hawk, um, because like the Tony Hawk thing seems very on brand for you. Um, but there was so much context around both. Oh goodness, I'm gonna say that the lie is Spike Lee. We have not done anything with Mr. Lee, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lee.
Tony Hawk is the lie. You were
Oh!
so close. You were
Another
so
L,
close.
another L. But wait, so was everything with Tony Hawk a lie? All of that?
Completely, totally a
You
lie.
have no skateboard. You don't
Well,
talk to those
I
kids
I can
anymore. And
skateboard,
I'm sure
like,
you can
but, like,
skateboard. I
I'm
know
not
you
good
can
enough to be in
skateboard.
a Nintendo commercial at, like, 9.
Well,
Like,
I don't know. I mean, a bunch of 9-year-olds, how good can they be? Like, I don't know. Oh, damn, damn. Um, Okay, wait. I know you loaded some pictures in here as like some proof. So let me see the picture of Raven. You have
Yeah,
something with
there it
Raven?
is. There it is.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so wait, is that little yellow thing some kind of thing to give us some buoyancy? What are we looking at here?
So, actually, what I believe that is behind us,
Uh-huh.
they were selling it was like Dr. Seuss was, like, really, really big, and I do remember I actually got a Cat in the hat, and if you look in the background, it's
Mhm.
like they had the hats on those. So, like, you could, like, pull the like, they were, like, facing in all
Oh
different
my
directions,
goodness.
and I think they were just giving them out to us because I remember like, I don't remember, like,
Jeez.
meeting Raven as a kid, but I had a Cat in the hat for, like, years. So that's actually what that is, and then the yellow thing behind me, I think is a plastic chair. I think she was doing, like,
Oh, okay. All
yeah,
right.
like photo opportunities, things like that.
This is giving me like life raft vibes.
Yes, very
Like
much
the
so,
back,
very
yeah.
much so.
So, How do we know that Spike Lee is true? Is there proof of that? Do we have a
Yes,
picture of
there
that
is,
too?
there
We
is.
do, huh?
Yeah, there it is.
Wow.
Yeah,
There he is. And who's this other young man in the picture?
that's my lovely brother, who's
Oh.
now, like, probably taller than me standing on Spike Lee's shoulders.
Hi, brother Hendrickson.
Yeah, that's my brother Ross.
Damn. Hi, Ross.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a name that speaks to me as a big Friends fan. Uh,
Yeah. His name
oh,
was gonna
that's
be
awesome.
Wolfgang, actually, and then they were like, let's name him Ross."
Yeah.
We gave one an eccentric name.
Wolfgang. A little bit. Wolfgang Hendrickson.
Yeah, they would've called him Wolfie,
That's cute.
right?
That's cute. Wolfie. Like, I'm here for it. That's cute. Damn, another L for me. That's okay. That's
Maybe
okay.
next time. Maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Yeah, thanks for believing in me. Thank you.
Always, Kyle, always.
So you are starring as Burrs in The Wild Party. The Wild Party is a crazy, crazy show. There's two different versions of this, right? There's the Angela Lipper one,
Yes.
and then there's somebody else that I've never listened to. I
Uh,
don't give that any
Le
time of day.
Lechusa, I believe is how you say
Oh,
his last name.
okay. All right. Yeah, I feel like I've seen that written. I just
What's
reject that. I don't know.
What's interesting, though, is that the, Lechusa version was on Broadway.
Oh,
Uh,
was it?
Eartha Kitt was in it,
Oh,
Mandy Patinkin was in it,
oh,
so some pretty big names were
right. Legit
involved,
people.
but what people know is the Andrew Lippa version, the
Right.
version that we're doing, which was produced off Broadway. But one of the things that I really like about the cast recording has always been very like near and dear to me. I think I was 16 or 17 when I saw them do it at Creative Ministries, actually.
That
John
was my
Rivera was Mr.
experience.
Black,
Yes.
Casey Manning was Burrs,
Mhm.
Emily Dowdell was Kate, and the Brienne Boyd
The
was Queenie.
yes.
So, it was like Sean Burbage was in it too. I remember he played
Mhm.
Eddie.
Yep.
Miss Kristen was May. I
Miss
think
Kristen.
Jason Dowdell was one of the brothers Darmano, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh,
Like,
great.
so it
Yeah.
was like that was my first exposure to the show. A
Mhm.
lot of shows that I had never seen before, I was lucky enough to see through Creative Ministries. But the cast recording was very like near and dear to me. I think it was one of the first like full cast recordings I ever bought on iTunes. And like it's just always been like, I guess it's because those voices, it's Taye Diggs, it's Julia Murney, it's Adina Menzel,
Yeah. Mhm.
it's Brian Darcy James, like,
Tremendous.
it's just a killer cast of voices, and the music is so gorgeous. Um, and it's kind of like a hidden gem. Like it's like a very like musical theater hipster musical kind of sort of. I
Mhm.
don't know.
Yeah, and no one ever does it. I don't think it's been done on Long Island, like, since CM did
Since
it. Um,
truly.
like, unless one's, like, slipped by, like, a one weekend only kind of a thing, because I would have gone if that was the case, like,
What's
'cause I love the
interesting
show
is,
that
the girl who plays Kate opposite me
Mhm.
actually was in, I know she was a teenager, and she was in a production of it at Soluna Studio.
Oh, really?
Um, but I didn't know that they had done it.
Mm.
But, it's kinda cool to watch someone come back to something, like, when they're a little bit older and maybe understand the subject matter a little bit better.
Yeah, and
Um,
everything else has matured too. Just what they can do on stage, what they can do vocally. We
yeah,
all have those roles. It was like, "You know what? I would love to do this again now because I know what
right.
we can bring to it this time." Um, awesome. So the people that don't know what the Wild Party is, like, what can they expect? What is this story about? What is the Wild Party?
So, the Wild Party is pretty much exactly that. It's a story about it's a wild, wild party. It's a story about, these 2 vaudeville performers,
Mhm.
who, about Queenie and Burrs. Queenie is a vaudeville singer, Burrs is a clown. They fall in love, and they have this very, tumultuous showmance, which I think a lot of people in the theater community can also relate to.
Right.
Um, and they unfortunately it's due to Burrs and the way that he is and his internal issues. He is extremely abusive verbally and physically towards Queenie, as well as sexually abusive towards her. He has addiction issues. He's definitely an alcoholic. He has a cocaine addiction, and choice, I guess, that I've made as in my Burrs, is that he also, oh yeah, that's a cute picture. That
Mhm.
kind of is it's an interesting one because we're in the tub, the two of us, Kendra and
Mhm.
I. But if you look really closely at that promotional photo,
Mhm.
like you can see my hand holding her pearls, but in the other hand, I have my stage cigarettes, like
Mm.
ready to go, ready to light. Like, yes, this is something that draws him, that, you know, like propels him, that makes him feel a certain
Mhm.
way, but like he's always got those other things.
Right.
He's also extremely schizophrenic, and I think that my version of the character is also impotent. He is
Mm.
he's not toxic masculinity so much as fragile masculinity, and it ultimately leads to his insanity as well. So it's a very heavy story. There's a, you know, trigger warning. It's a very, very heavy story. Don't bring the kids to this one unless you want to explain a lot on the car ride home. Um, but it's basically what ends up happening is one day Queenie can't take it anymore. Burrs pushes her too far, and she says, "You know, I can't leave him because he'll just bring me back in. He just physically abused me. So what am I supposed to do? I'm going to throw a party and I'm going to embarrass him in front of all of his friends when I cheat on him with someone else. I don't care who it
Mhm.
is, but I'm just going to embarrass him." And that's pretty much what ends up happening. It's all through music mostly. There are a couple like spoken lines here and there, but it's mostly sung through, which is also a really cool kind of aspect about the show.
Oh, absolutely. Now, this is a real departure for you, at least in my opinion, right? Because I'm used to seeing you and seeing pictures of you in some of the lighter fare, right? Like the Cat in the Hat, like you even mentioned before, like from Musical the Musical. Joseph, you know, with his amazing dream coat. So, what is it about Burrs, like, and taking on a role like this that is so much darker than what you usually do? Like, what resonated with you, and what made this be like a role that you wanted to play?
So I think a large part of it is that, like, you know, time is a crazy but wonderful thing, and you kind of start growing. I was very used to playing children, you know, teenagers, young
Mhm.
adults, and I find that I'm kind of getting a little bit older. So I kind of wanted to do this to show people that I'm more than just like crutchy, you know, like I can
Right,
be something that's a
right.
little bit more like that's why they call it acting, you know,
Mhm.
like I can kind of do something that is far from myself. I like to think, at least, you know. I also think that it is such a challenge dealing with so much on stage and in such a small space as well. Our house seats about 77 people.
Okay.
And we also have seating available on the sides as well. So if you like really want to join the party, you can literally sit in either a couch or an armchair, like on the side of the stage, and get a
Oh,
different view
geez.
of the production. So it requires a lot of focus as well. It's a big challenge in that.
Mhm.
As I mentioned, my character is schizophrenic. So like having to figure out when you're shifting and, you know, going from one personality to another, or, you know, dealing with uh, one physicality versus another. You know, especially there's a lot of intimacy, for lack of a better word. It's not There's nothing intimate about it. It's very heavy, and it's very it's palpable. Like the actress who I play off of, Kendra, is fantastic. She's someone that I can really trust on stage and off, which is important when you're doing stuff like this, especially with an
Sure it
audience so
is.
close. Yeah, there she is.
There she
Um,
is.
and you know, I'm very grateful for her and the way that she's been so willing to work with me and make sure I'm comfortable doing what I have to do with her. But then, like, through that, I'm also kind of making sure that she's comfortable with what's happening to her.
Right,
You know, it's interesting. You know, you usually do a before you do a show, you do your mic check and your dance call, and you know, there's so much that happens in this show that quite literally we have, you know, we have a fight call, we have a dance call, and then we have an intimacy call where we have to go through all that choreography and make sure that everything is done in a safe way, and that, you know, we're physically good to do it that day.
right.
You know, because you never want to put someone through something like that, you know, when they're opening themselves up to playing this character and going on this journey, and then if they're not comfortable, people change day to day. If it means that, I choke you a little less, then, like, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna choke you lighter.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely. Yeah.
Well, you mentioned in there like a couple of things that you found challenging about taking this role on. If you had to say like one particular moment or one particular aspect of the role to be the most challenging, like what would you say that is?
So, I think all in all with this show, what's the biggest challenge, I think is the music itself. Because like, yes, you want to emote, and yes, you want to, singing is the ultimate emoting.
Yeah.
I also think that because our production is takes place in such a small space, there's really nowhere for a pit band. So everything is tracked.
Okay.
So you have to be very precise in your moments,
You sure?
or the show gets away from you,
Yep.
especially with something like this. It happened to me once or twice during Tech Week, where moments that I was too stuck in one moment and not focused on the next, and a whole verse gets away from you, or a very important line can get away from you, and you really have to make sure that you're telling the story as best as you can, because it's all sung. There's not it's not these line exchanges like most people are used to when they see theater. So you really have to stay focused and in the moment, and make sure that you're doing your homework and listening to your recordings. Our vocal director, who's also in the show, Shiloh Bennett, has been really, really fantastic. Not only did he make the tracks for the show, but he also made us rehearsal tracks with like the cast recording with our parts played on top of it. Like, really went the extra mile to make sure that we were prepared, and that we felt secure enough to be able to tell the story. There are some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful songs in the show. I would definitely say that also brings a huge responsibility, though, to the role. Pretty much anyone that's asked me, like, "Oh, you're in Wild Party? You sing What Is It About Her?" Like, yeah, like that's the song that everyone knows. It's the song that closes Act One. It's like there's a lot of responsibility, but then that also brings that like very cathartic challenge, I guess, that I think a lot
Mhm.
of us look for when we're performing, to kind of, again, get that feeling after it's over, that release, that you don't really get anywhere else.
Yeah, that's all in very interesting, especially the bit with the tracks, because like I think that's a challenge even when you have dialogue in between. Like,
Oh, big time.
you're singing the song and you've got a scene and it's full dialogue. People have a chance to reset and things. When you're trying to tell the story through song, it is so important because you've got to be in the moment and you want to make sure that you're acting through it and you're really delivering it the way that it's supposed to be. But you're also having to be like one and two steps ahead to anticipate like where you're going after that. Like that, it's very hard to like, yeah.
Yeah. And Wild Party has a lot of underscore as well, and, like, of
Mhm.
course, certain tracks are separated with different cues and things like that, but, like, if you say one wrong line, there's no saving it. There's no one down there in the pit going, "Okay, guys, we're gonna do this again,"
Right.
like, you're
We can't
very
rely on Matt to start vamping.
truly,
You're
truly,
right, really.
but, it's one of those things that once you finish the show and you look on this journey that you've gone on with this character and with this audience, and it does feel very satisfying, and it does feel very, I would say, cathartic again, to be able to go through that experience of like this crazy story that happens in one night, but it feels like it happens over a long period of time.
Right.
I walk out and I'm like, that was only an hour and a half. Like, I'm very much used to doing your 2.5 hour shows, your
Yep.
long musicals, things like that. So that's another perk with this one, is that it's like, oh, cool. We're going to Bourbon and Brews at 9:30. Awesome. Cool.
Awesome.
Like,
We're done.
yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite moment in the show?
Anything that I sing in act two, honestly, like, because it's like a descent almost that you get to see in my character from everyday to not so everyday. I don't want to give too much away. But like probably from the end of act one, and then because my character is a clown, he gets very drunk at the party and he puts on clown makeup. And after I sing What Is It About Her is intermission where I put that makeup on. So it's kind of for me as a performer a nice moment to like kind of start the slide. And then I sing the song called Let Me Drown. And then I get to sing the song called Make Me Happy, which are two beautifully written songs. And I get to sing Make Me Happy with the two other leads of the show. So that's really cool. I think that those are probably my three favorite moments in the show. It's hard to pick just one.
Yeah.
But what's interesting as well is like for me, personally, I like the stuff that's not told. Like I'm big on like the inner stuff that like I know that creates my relationship stronger with whatever actor I'm working with. And one of the boys he plays, Jackie, who's the dancer at the
Mhm,
party.
mhm.
And this cast and rehearsal kind of determined that because they're another trigger warning, there is some drug use in the show. It's a 1920s musical, so they're doing the whole time. And there's a character who doesn't have a tongue, and he's a dancer. And in this production, we've decided that because he's actually the first person that's invited on the list when Queenie's like, oh, like I'm going to throw this party for you, that he is actually the one who sells it, and that he got his
Mm.
tongue cut out because he snitched. And the actor who plays him is actually also named Jack. Fantastic
Mm.
dancer, sweet, sweet, sweet kid. And we've actually been having moments. He came up to me and was like, "I read the poem. I'm gonna be like closer with friends with you because of what I read in the poem that the story's based off of." And it was like very sweet. So I've had like little moments with him each time
Oh,
that we've been on stage together, which have been pretty cool as well. But like what's scripted, those three songs for sure.
hmm. Alright, awesome. Now you mentioned in there, like, the makeup and everything is you now do, like, to prepare for this role and everything. That's not the only thing you've done, right? You've actually
Yeah.
taken the time to get, like, these fake tattoos
Oh,
done, and, like, tell me about these. First of all, how long does this last? And, like, how did this go? Because the detail on this is, like, ah,
So,
top
what's actually
notch.
really cool is, so my girlfriend drew those. Nicole actually drew those.
Really?
Yeah, so I showed her a couple pictures because, like, I've been, like, Amy Winehousing my tattoo sleeve together, both my arms,
Okay.
since the pandemic kind of, like, piecemealing it. And the comedy tragedy with the clown and then the hobo clown, are 2 that she actually drew for, like, because the character is a clown to kind of
Mhm.
help me to separate myself from the character.
Okay.
I actually also just cut my hair for the show as well. So like I have this like very Draco Malfoy 1920s like Jay Gatsby thing going on, which like is cool and all. And like I'm very grateful that it's a haircut that like I can rock. Like it's not like, you know, when the guys in Spring Awakening had like crazy,
Right.
you know, whatever going on. Um, but it's tough when the show ends to separate myself from the character because I have the same hairstyle. Like, you know, when you finish a show, you put your street clothes back on, and you go out and you meet your people, and you know, you kind of assimilate back into the person that you are versus the character you just played for however long. It's
Mhm.
very difficult to do that with the hair. So being able to wash the tattoos off because they can actually last up to a week.
Oh,
They're pretty solid. They like deteriorate a little bit, obviously. But she bought me paper that goes in your printer. And then you put like a sticky sheet on top of it and you let it sit for 24 hours. So she
oh,
essentially
wow.
made the tattoos like temporary tattoos, like, you know, you used to get like at a birthday party.
Right, right.
That's what she did. She made those.
And that's where that detail comes from because, like, I'm
Yeah.
looking at that nose and,
Yeah.
like, like, the little bit of white that's on there and even, like, the little bit of a glare that you're getting on, like, the teardrop and everything,
Yep.
like, this is, like, it's so rich in color. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
she
love
did a
that.
really good job.
Yeah,
She
that's
did a
sick.
really, really good
That's
job,
really
and,
sick.
like, it's just cool to, like, kind of, you know, inform a character through a small detail like that, especially, like, me being like I was saying, it's the things that I don't say or the things that aren't scripted that I really like, and I
Mhm.
guess that's another thing that drew me to the character is that while he does have all these problems, there's so much more that you can go into and, you know, develop on. It helps you to portray that, effectively, at least I think
Right.
so.
Awesome. It's cool. Now, you're really no stranger, like, to Long Island theater and, like, just performing in general. So of the shows that you've done, outside of Wild Party, like, what would you say is, like, your favorite or maybe even, like, your top 3, that you've done?
I could definitely do a top 3. To pick my
Okay,
favorite, that's like
that's
asking me to pick
another
a
hard
favorite
one.
tattoo or,
Or
like,
a
a
favorite
favorite
movie
song
or
or
something like
something,
that,
like
you know?
yeah,
Yeah,
you know?
because we like things for so many different reasons. Yeah.
I definitely think any show a couple that you've actually mentioned, earlier, any show that, I was able to work with kids, has been really, really rewarding. My, like, life mantra is be the person that you needed when you were younger. So like to
Mm,
be in a show like I just recently did Seussical this summer, and the boy who played JoJo at his school as well, Jake Cooney. He's fantastic. I call him Babyface Jake. He's great. And like during the show, I'd be like, what comes next? What comes next? He'd be like, dude, get it together. How many times have we done this? Like, like it's so cool to see like the younger talent and like to watch them grow up. Like I was the Artful Dodger in Oliver. I was
right,
22, so
yeah,
almost 10 years ago now. And it's really cool to see like where all those boys ended up and like to see like who they went to high school with, who does community theater now, but like they don't do theater anymore because they did it when they were younger. Like it's very interesting. Joseph as well, even. I mean, to see most of my kids are now playing wives in the new production that they're doing coming this spring. It's really really cool to be able to watch them grow up within this community, and I just think that when you do a show like that, it creates a strong bond. I would have to say Newsies gets an honorable mention as well. Um, I think that there are very few shows where it's like boys dancing, but it's like cool to be dancing, if that makes any sense. I
right,
didn't dance in that
absolutely.
one, thank goodness. But I got very lucky in that one, in countless ways. But definitely the fact that I didn't have to dance was a nice perk. And
Absolutely.
working so closely with one Bobby Peterson was also a really great opportunity for me. We had never done anything together before, believe it or not. Just kind of missed each
Oh,
other
wow.
here and there, and then we kind of struck lightning with that one. And still to this day we're like brothers, which is a fantastic when you get that on stage off stage relationship. I think and it's healthy. um I think that
Right.
that's really a
Special.
testament, yeah, and it's a
Yeah,
testament to what we do, and the journey we go on with one another, and the fact that you can have such a good relationship with someone from doing something for 6 weeks, is
right.
great. Yeah.
Awesome. Other things you've done, can you, like, maybe highlight one favorite moment or your favorite, like, funniest moment or things like that? Like, obviously, the more embarrassing, the better. But, like,
Yeah.
any, like, on stage mishaps?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
So, when I was a company member at Theater 3, I was really lucky because, Jeff Sanzel, actually offered
Yeah, love, yeah,
so much love
yeah.
for Jeff Sanzel. He did this really cool thing because I had done Oliver for him the year before, and I was an adjunct company member, so I was able to kind of like learn the ropes, understand the shows. Didn't have to come in blind, which was like super helpful for me to like make sure that I like could meet the bar that he was setting. Um, and which he always resets once you set the bar, which is like another awesome thing about working over there with him. But
Mhm.
he was very kind and offered all three company members like kind of like a show that we could focus on. So I was company members with Amanda Geraci and Jenna Cavalier.
Mm,
And Amanda was in Sweeney, and then Jenna got to do this play. I can't remember what it was called, but it was she was fantastic in it. But anyway, we each got like something to do, and Godspell was my show. And there was a lot of like faith in me in doing that. I'm sure you're familiar with the show,
oh, yeah,
how it's like just a string of Bible verses and songs, and a lot of it rests on the shoulders of this
exhausting,
one person.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
to make sure that they're saying the right cue lines for the right songs, and you're playing such a important figure to so many people, and through the whole process I felt very like supported and very encouraged and very it was unlike anything else that I'd ever felt before. in working with someone, and
Mm.
the vibe was just great doing that show. Um, the night we were filming, so this is on video.
Oh,
Um,
excellent. I'm already excited.
yeah. So the night that we were filming, you performed at Theater 3, so you're aware that it's built over the river.
Yes.
So what happens, unfortunately, in Theater 3 is at least 100 years old, that building.
Yeah.
So buildings settle. So the stage was at a point where just very, very small, like a tiny lip, from one part to the next. Um, we had a cart with everything needed for the blessing of the matzah before, like, will you, is it me, my Lord? The whole,
Mm.
like, and then the Judas moment when he leaves and all that stuff. And we didn't do Beautiful City. We actually did Day by Day, because, like, there's enough for Jesus to have to worry about. There's enough ballads in Act 2. Like, let's sing Day by Day and, like, kind of be, like, happy about it. And we all, like, kind of, like, we did this really cool thing where we each had, like, a symbol on our face, and, like, we kind of, like, wiped it off, like, through the song or whatever. So everybody's walking around and they're getting these baby wipes to clean their face. And it's my responsibility to push the cart downstage and make sure it's set for my next, like, big monologue, where I
Uh-huh.
not only now have to speak, I have to bless the matzah. So I have to say this Jewish prayer, and I'm not Jewish. So it was, like, difficult and stressful enough to begin with. Jeff is Jewish, so that also adds, like, another level of, like, responsibility in the
Right. It's
moment.
a whole nother layer of stress to this.
So they're singing day by day, and I push the thing up and it hits the lip, and it's a goblet full of water and a box of matzah. So you hear day by day, pling, pling, plong. It falls on the stage. Water goes everywhere,
Everywhere.
everywhere. It was super duper loud. And the matzah goes everywhere. So I'm like, oh my God, we're filming. Like, what am I supposed to do? How do I save this? I cannot leave the stage because it's the end of this, like, 40 seconds. I have to, like, have this moment of wiping my thing off myself. And I'm just trying not to laugh. Like,
Right. And you're
honestly.
also picturing Jeff on the side of the stage, like,
Yeah, literally.
yes.
So I'm, like, freaking out. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, oh my God. And out of nowhere, the guy who played Judas comes out and he just starts ripping his costume pieces off, cleaning up this mess that I made, because there's going to be another dance number soon
Right.
after.
Oh my God.
Like, I didn't even say anything to him. And it was such, like, a cool moment of, like the two characters, like, he still has your back even though he's going to betray you moment.
Right. Right.
But also, like, what am I going to do now? I, like, have to tell them to drink from this cup. There's nothing left in it.
And everyone knows there's nothing left in it.
So I'm not even kidding you when I said, drink what is left in this cup, and pass it around, and watch them all had to not only eat dirty matzah that just, like, fell on the floor because they all have to take a piece of it, but now they have nothing to wash it down with
Right.
because I spilled it all over the stage.
So,
Yeah, no,
getting
everyone's
stuck on the
like,
roof of their mouth, getting stuck on their teeth.
and they're all facing me. So
Yeah.
their backs are to the audience, and they're all like,
Yes.
like making faces at me, like,
That
really,
would have been me
of all
too, for
nights?
sure.
So yeah, that's probably
Fantastic.
most recently one of the more,
Nice.
like, embarrassing moments. Like,
Good job. Good
I
job.
I was doing that the year prior, actually. Here's another quick one for you. I was doing a show called Stand Up, Stand Out, which is an anti-bullying piece.
Mm.
It's very smart. It basically takes this one character through children's stories. So they do, like, The Wizard of Oz, Three Little Pigs, Alice in Wonderland, and they show, like, bullying in it to the kids, and, like, there's, like, a puppets in it. All the adults are played by puppets. It's a cute one. And I will never ever forget the guy who was doing the puppets couldn't do the show. Like, he, like, slept through his alarm or something, and he, like, wasn't a big
Oh,
technology guy.
fantastic.
So poor Jeff had to go on. Called the guy and was like, I have to go on. I have to do the show, blah, blah. The guy woke up and made it to the show, but was like 10 minutes late. So Jeff did the
Sure,
first like
sure.
3 scenes with the puppets, and then they just kind of like very seamlessly like swapped in like something only Jeff could pull off. But we finished the Three Little Pigs transition, and a little girl in the audience in the silence audibly says, "Wait, what in the world is going on?" And we all looked at each other and we're like, we don't have an answer for you. Like, and it was just like such like a meta moment of like, wait, what is going on? Like, what is happening right now?
Like,
And just like another beautiful thing about like live theater and like children engaging in live theater, you know, it was
right.
probably one of the first shows that kid had ever seen, like, you know, and I don't know, it was just golden moment,
My gosh.
golden moment. Yeah, those Q&As were fun. I remember there was one time that we started a Q&A and I said, any questions, you know, whatever. And I didn't even point to the kid, just raised his hand, was like, I peed. We were like in a library, like, like, you know, like kids are great. Kids are
Like,
great.
all right, awesome.
Yeah. It's
Good
like
for you.
someone should get to that. Does anyone have a question? Like,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Those are the best moments, honestly. Those real ones. I love performing for kids, honestly. Like children's theater is like some of the best stuff you can do. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's very, very
truly.
rewarding.
I mean,
Yeah.
I used to do birthday parties too, which was always cool
Mm.
because it's like their special day. Like I will never forget I did Prince Eric for someone once, and like it was a 2-year-old's birthday. And they like essentially, I guess the mom saw on Pinterest like that they did the wedding of Eric and Ariel at the birthday. And this
Mm.
2-year-old, all she wanted to be was the camera girl. It was so cute the whole day, just walking around with her little camera, taking pictures of herself, whatever. And you know how like the Disney soundtracks, it's like the 6 songs in the beginning and then like the underscore for the end, like 20 songs, like that's in the movie.
Yes.
So the girl who was dressed as Ariel had to leave to go get into her wedding dress. She showed up a mermaid and then she got her legs and, you know, whatever. So for like 45 minutes, it's just me trying to entertain all these kids. And the music on the boat kept playing the when he's like playing the flute and like dancing with his dog. And this little girl kept coming up to me, I'm not even kidding, and going, "You dance, you dance." And I'd be like, will you dance with me? And she was like, "No." Like, well, then I won't
I'm
dance
out of here then.
alone. But
Right.
anytime I hear that or One Step Closer, anything from The Little Mermaid, all I can think of is that little girl going, "You dance, you dance." Like,
So cute.
yeah, kids are great.
Kids are the best. Ish.
Ish.
In that
Yes.
capacity. Yeah. So what is next for you in theater? Like what are you doing after the wild party?
So after the wild party, I'm actually going to be starring as Apollo, the Greek
Mm,
god, in a musical called The Olympians at CM Performing Arts Center. It
okay.
opens, I think it's the second weekend in April, possibly the third. Hopefully the third gives us more
Mm,
time to rehearse.
right.
I just had my first rehearsal last night. It's
Awesome.
really cool because it's a jukebox musical, but it's like you know, when it's like the best of the 80s, 90s, and today, like it's like one of
Right.
those kind of things. But
And this is like a world premiere, isn't it? Like this is not
yeah,
this is the
yeah.
first
So
time this is being done.
theatrical rights worldwide saw their production of, I think it was maybe it was The Prom, maybe it was On Your Feet. I'm not sure. I know that they saw a production that they had done
Hmm.
at CM, and I think that they're pretty close with Elise, the artistic director of the theater,
Hmm.
and that they were kind of like, you know, would you be interested in doing this? So it's kind of like the demo production to then be like licensed and stuff,
Oh, that's
which is
awesome.
yeah, it's great. It just does also kind of bring challenges in rehearsing because, like, you know, I think as actors in community theater, we end up like looking to something for reference, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's like the tracks, there's no cast recording, there's no
Nothing.
like it just truly there are tracks, but they sound like remember Nokia phones? They
Yes.
sound like a cover of whatever song we're singing on
Yikes.
Nokia.
Almost
And
like a glorified MIDI file.
yes, yes. Oh my god, yeah. It sounds like a video game, like truly like a
Okay.
Super Nintendo video game.
Yikes.
Which grateful we have a full pit, which will be cool.
Oh,
But
awesome.
yeah, but rehearsing has been the past, like, I think yesterday was my second rehearsal. I apologize. I misspoke. So the 2 rehearsals that we've had, it's just interesting to adapt to that.
Right, right.
But yeah, no, I think that it's gonna be great. There are some heavy hitters, some names I could drop. Christina Diorda is in it.
Ooh, love her.
Andrew Morano is in
Yes,
it. Um,
excellent. Super
uh,
talented, super
Livy
talented.
Rose is in it as well.
Yes,
Andrew plays Orpheus. I think that Livy plays Aphrodite. Christina Diorda is Athena. I'm trying to think who else is in it. Daniel Rubinson is in it. Like a bunch of
really?
the kids that are in their teen productions are in it.
Right, right.
So it's like just a cool project to be involved in, and it's a nice transition because I quite literally opened Wild Party on Sunday and then started rehearsals on Monday
Jeez.
for this. So it's cool to like it kind of
Super
takes me back
busy.
to when I was younger, of like, oh,
The back
one
to
show
back.
closes, the next opens, especially because like I was saying earlier, when getting older, it's like, well, you can't just go and audition to play the Sun and everything every more,
That's very
Um,
true. Yeah. It kind of shrinks for a little bit before it like expands again.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah,
like
totally get that.
the like toy ball that like,
Mhm.
like, what I'm talking about?
The
Like that.
plastic one, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Yeah,
yes.
yeah, 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 yeah. Like,
I'm on board.
yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and this is definitely a lot lighter, obviously, than the Wild Party. So like real like
Oh,
departure, because like I know there's like a lot of pop music in there. I think like the little flyer that I had seen, like there's some songs from Kelly Clarkson that we can
yes, yes.
expect.
Breakaway by Kelly Clarkson is in it.
Woo!
I sing Walking on Sunshine.
Fun.
The Climb by Miley Cyrus is in it.
Oh,
There's a
okay.
Blondie song. So it's like it's
Something for everybody.
definitely, definitely.
Yeah,
I think that it's gonna be a nice weekend. I think that it's like I said, a lot of heavy hitters. So like that's a nice a nice company to be included with.
right.
And
Very validating. It makes us feel good about
oh, for
ourselves.
sure, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
and like who doesn't want to be asked to play a Greek god? Like, like,
Right.
ego boost. So like that's also pretty cool. But
Right.
yeah, I'm having a blast with that. I don't think I'm gonna do something heavy for a long, long, long time. I think that the subject matter of the Wild Party has been enough for me for a little bit, and
Mhm.
I definitely want to do shows that I've done with kids that they can maybe come see them.
Right.
you know.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. So where can people find more information about some of the projects you have coming up?
So
Where can they find you on social media?
yeah, so basically, my social media is just the at symbol, my first name,
Mhm.
HANS, and then my last name shortened to HENDY. Most people think it's Han Shendi, but it's actually Hans Hendy. Um, I'm
Oh,
on,
wow. I know I never thought about that. I've known you as Hans Hendy for so long that that never even like occurred to me. But I get it if they don't know you.
and I just like to keep all my social media consistent.
Yes.
But if you
I
Google
get it.
Hans Paul Hendrickson, all of my reviews come up.
Ah, so the
So
full government name.
the actor, yes,
Yeah.
has his middle name, and then my regular name just brings up my social media. I post a lot on my Instagram story. So
Okay.
like
So do I. No shame.
but so usually it's like in there somewhere. But I post like crazy. I am on Facebook under my regular name. If you're not already friends with me and you want to add me, that's fine. And then also my Twitter. But parental advisory on that one.
Right. Yeah. Twitter's a whole different world.
Twitter is a very different world, especially as someone who like used to text 404
Oh my
and like before it
gosh.
was an app,
Yes.
like
Yep.
when people would like accidentally text Twitter and it'd be like just an out of context line, like so
God,
like
yeah, that just took me back. Yeah, before it had an app, before it was even like a proper site, because it was like a half site in a way. Like it
yes.
certainly isn't what it is now.
It was
Yeah.
like and I feel like it was
40404.
140 characters.
Oh God. Yeah, back then
And
it
then
sure was.
now it's like two something.
Two
I don't
something.
know.
I still feel like I don't always have enough space.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
But you can pay for more space now.
I will never. Well, you know what? That's actually not true. There was a time that I did did pay for Twitter Blue, and it was before like Elon took over and like jacked the price up. Like it used to be like $3 or $4, like $2.99 or something like that. I was like, for that amount of money, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'll take the extra stuff. You can upload longer videos. It's like, oh, that really, really
Right.
works for me. And now it's like, I don't know, like $10 or $11. And like, and you also get the little check mark, which I don't want because I don't want people to think that I'm that desperate that I'm paying for my check mark. Like, I wouldn't mind more characters, but I don't want you to think that I did it for the check mark, so now I won't do it.
Right.
Like,
No, it creates like a
yeah,
very you should be able to pay for it, but hide the check mark if you want. It
right.
should
I
be
don't want
optional.
the check mark. I just want to be able to talk more, and I'm going to put up longer videos, and I like to be able to edit my tweets. You know?
Yes, yes, because spelling
Yes.
errors, like, the phones are only as smart as we make them. That's the worst. When they're like,
Right.
"Oh, no, it's the
Right.
wrong there, but 7 people have liked it." Like, I can't get rid of it, like, like
Right. Are you one of those people who don't like to delete their tweets if there's like a typo? There are people like that out there that will like tweet, they see it has an error and they'll respond to themselves and like with like correcting it, like
correcting
with a
it?
star
Oh,
and like whatever. Yeah.
man.
And it's like, what is that? Just delete it. Like
Right,
as if, like, what is, like, who cares? Oh, they deleted a tweet. Like, I don't care. That doesn't, you don't lose any credibility with
right.
me, like, for doing something like that. Like, who cares? Yeah. So as long as that, you're not one of those people. So we'll
No,
take that.
no. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, man. That's all I got.
Okay.
This
Has been a
So to the
pleasure.
people who hung out the entire time, thank you for listening. Thanks for watching. Thank you, of course, to you for hanging out with me tonight. Hear the rain coming down. Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Thanks for keeping me company on a rainy night.
Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute
Oh, of
pleasure.
course.
Um, and I'll my dates are posted. So if you want to come see me in Wild Party, that would be great. Everyone out there, come support. And if you can't make it this night, there's also another great cast that's on another night. So you
Right.
know, a lot of options. Just support live theater in general. If
Yeah.
like regardless of where you're at,
Be a
your
pal. Be a
closest place,
pal.
like keep it alive, please.
Yeah.
It means a lot
It's
to.
important.
It is important. I think
It
that
is.
there are a lot of kids who maybe don't get to be as lucky as I was in high school to have a great outlet in their school, or
Mhm.
maybe need to get away from home for a little bit, or whatever it is. It going out and buying that ticket does so much more than just keep the doors open.
It does. It does. And whatever age people come into it, everybody needs it for a different reason. Because I certainly didn't understand it or even know that this even existed when I was in high school. But even as an adult, I mean, this community really gave me a lot. So, no, it's very important at whatever age.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
absolutely. Um, Anybody listening or watching, you can catch my full review on Wild Party at thekylepettyshow.com because I will be there on this weekend. By the time you listen to this conversation, I've already been there. But yeah, you can find the review on my website. And yeah, thanks again for hanging. This was a great conversation. I had a good
It
time.
really was. Thank you so much, Kyle.
Thank you again to Hans for hanging out with me here on The Kyle Petty Show. You can catch my full review of the show at thekylepettyshow.com. That'll be up by Thursday, the 14th. What's coming up next? I will be going to see Joseph and his amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat opening night at CM Performing Arts Center on the, what is that, the 16th? Oh my gosh, I got to keep a calendar someplace. That's the next purchase. Calendar here, calendar everywhere, because I don't be knowing these numbers. But yes, opening night on the 16th. Super excited about that one. The review would be soon to follow afterwards, certainly before the second weekend, for anyone who gives two cracks. But anyway, thank you for watching. You can find the Kyle Petty Show on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, not on Twitter. Don't have anything that breaking to report here, but at the Kyle Petty Show. If you care to follow me on the Twitter, you can do so at I'm Kyle Petty. However, I will warn you, I am a reality TV junkie and tweet about a lot of other things, so you might want to beware. But if you're interested, give it a gander. Anyway, that's it. Thanks so much for hanging. I'm out of here. Thanks a lot.